me, I am Rachyl and a senior here at CPHS. I've been in the Crown Point Community School District for the last 12 years. I went to Lake Street Elementary and then Taft Middle School. I cannot express how grateful I am for all of the teachers and staff that have gotten me to this point. You all have truly prepared me for the next step in my life, college. After the next 180 school days, I will further my education at a university of my choosing. Leaving behind the school district will be a very bittersweet task. Crown Point Schools has become my home away from home these past years. I do not know if this is a product of spending hours after hours in this building, or simply because of how welcoming of an environment you all have provided for me and the 8,500 other students that walk through our many school doors. To reflect on these last 12 years, I would like to tell you all a story or two that sticks out to me from the school I attended. First off, in first grade at Lake Street Elementary, I was fortunate enough to have Mrs. Carroll as a teacher. She then moved to my class as the second grade. Mrs. Carroll was one of the most amazing ladies I've ever crossed paths with. During those 2 years with her, I acquired a vast amount of information, but I will never forget the last day I was in her class. My mom came in to pick me up, and Mrs. Carroll pulled both my mom and me aside. Mrs. Carroll then said, "Rachyl, where do you take things that you find that don't belong to you?" I replied like I had so many times before, "The lost and found it, of course." To which Mrs. Carroll replied, "Mrs. Adams, Rachyl has been calling the lost and found the lost and fountain for the last 2 years." But it was just too cute that I couldn't correct her. To be completely honest, I was shocked when I found this devastating news. However, it did clear my confusion in never seeing a fountain where I would take the lost fountain. Additionally, a highlight of my Lake Street career was the legendary teacher, third grade teacher, Mrs. Kitts. She is retired since I was her student, but I will forever remember her for her easy button. On the corner of her desk, she had this big red button that when pressed would say, "That was easy." My third grade friends and I found it beyond hilarious to press this button whenever walking past Mrs. Kitts' desk, and then run back to our seats. Mrs. Kitts was not one to tolerate mischief, so a time came when she was beyond fed up with this behavior. Thus, Mrs. Kitts grabbed the easy button, tossed it in the trash can 6 feet away. When the button clanked against the trash can, it said, "That was easy." As you can imagine, a roar of laughter was produced by Mrs. Kitts, my peers, and me as the easy button proclaimed its final words. I believe that every school I've passed through has been able to supply me with a moral lesson. These elementary school stories revolving around Mrs. Carroll and Mrs. Kitts show that although you all are here as an occupation, your job is not just a career, but also a source of a second family. Everyone in this room is a member of the Crown Point School family. Each school is an immediate family, and together we are one big extended family. You're all not here just to learn, but also to live. You're here to grow together through the laughs and mistakes that turn to lessons. To continue, middle school was 3 years of my life that I never wish to relive ever again. I wasn't sad or anything, but those 3 years were simply years of survival. However, one of our 8th grade teachers, Mrs. Lewis, was the light and color of these years. I'm not sure if it was the Lily Pulitzer that brought the color, or her energetic and lively personality. Regardless, Mrs. Lewis and I clicked. I believe that a large part of a professional career that works with children is that they must be able to remember that education is important, but building relationships may be even more important. In between class periods, we would talk about Pinterest, IU, and much, much more. Mrs. Lewis gained both my trust and friendship. Let me tell you, if I decide to continue my education in IU next year, Mrs. Lewis will have been the sales lady. She is an intelligent and enthusiastic educator who knows how to teach both core classes and character. With her in mind, I would like to define middle school as a time where I learned that school's purpose was not only to rack up information, but also to rack up worldly skills. These skills include communication, opinions, character, and individuality. To the other students of this corporation and myself, school is more than just school. Schools are life and our job. All we know is school, and you all have been key in making this a good life to live in. High school has been an adventure and roller coaster of emotions. Whether I was staying up until 2 a.m. studying AP chemistry, or getting ice cream with friends, I've experienced an abundance of both stress and happiness. The stress is a direct result of not only the high expectations that I believe all of you hold for your students, but the higher expectations that I believe my peers and I hold for ourselves. Stress was the easy part of my roller coaster in high school. I believe happiness was a much harder state to maintain. Luckily, I have had amazing people alongside me these last 3 years. These people being my peers, family, and all of the staff at Crumlin High School. All of my teachers and advisors these last 3 years have been spectacular. It would be impossible to pinpoint a single event or story to describe my high school career with. Every student that walks these halls has their own opinions, and the majority of them have no problem voicing them. With that said, I challenge all of you to one task this upcoming year. Make your students have an opinion and make them proud to voice it. Let your students explore their creativity and imagination. This will constantly remind them that their future's possibilities are endless. I have often found my peers are too focused on the minor details. They forget to look at the big picture. I believe the big picture is this. Everyone that enters a Crown Point school system building can do whatever they wish with whatever time they have left. Time is insignificant. What you do with your time is significant. This upcoming year, set a good example of how we can all make changes in this world, and only things we let limit us will actually limit us. In conclusion, the 3 teachers I mentioned today were very special to me. Each of you are that adult figure to someone, and that is something to be very proud of. I'm a big believer that everyone just wants to be respected and appreciated. I hope you all are excited for a year unlike any before, a year where we will be proud of the possibilities the future holds. Get ready and welcome back. My fellow classmates and I are ready.